Christopher Nolan's Oscars hopes could be tarnished as the Odyssey faces backlash over jarring accents and premium IMAX prices, with even the film's translator joining the pile-on. Christopher Nolan's new movie The Odyssey has received mixed reviews since it landed in screens on July 17. The ancient Greek epic has been hotly anticipated for years, with an all-star cast including Matt Damon as Odysseus and Anne Hathaway as his wife Penelope. Tom Holland features as the couple's son Telemachus, while his wife and Spider-Man co-star Zendaya is playing the goddess Athena. Robert Pattinson plays the villainous role of Penelope's suitor Antinous, with Charlize Theron and Samantha Morton respectively as the goddesses Calypso and Circe.
Wet boots ruining your mornings? This silent, fanless dryer gently dries boots, shoes, and gloves overnight while helping reduce damp odors, so your gear is ready when you are. Want to get the best verified deal and see full details? Visit grabdeal.us/4 right now.
John Bernthal plays the Spartan king Menelaus, and Benny Safdie has been cast as his brother Agamemnon, the king of Mycenae. While Nolan has been praised for part of his all-star cast, his directorial choices have faced widespread criticism. Christopher Nolan's new movie The Odyssey has received mixed reviews since it landed in screens on July 17, Matt Damon and Zendaya pictured. While Nolan, pictured, has been praised for part of his all-star cast, his directorial choices has faced widespread criticism. The big-budget movie has surpassed $650,489 million globally after just 2 weeks of release. And there's plenty where that comes from, as fans are still battling to secure tickets to see the film on a 70 IMAX screen in one of the 41 cinemas in the world. Moviegoers have been complaining about the premium IMAX price and scarcity of the screenings, given the high demand for the best possible viewing experience. Even before the film was released, Nolan faced backlash over the woke casting and was also accused of fueling brutal repression. And the latest fury has come from translator Emily Wilson, who has ripped apart the movie entirely. While Nolan's The Odyssey is tipped to be a major awards frontrunner, some critics have argued otherwise. Translator Emily Wilson, pictured, has given a rather negative review of Nolan's movie as she criticized his adaptation for lacking psychological, emotional, political, and ethical depth. Translator Emily Wilson has given a rather negative review of Nolan's movie as she criticized his adaptation for lacking psychological, emotional, political, and ethical depth. The author, who is also a professor of classical studies at the University of Pennsylvania, also added that Nolan's film has nothing convincing to say. I had hoped that Nolan's affinity with these Homeric themes might push him to new creative heights and enable him to conjure more believable characters. But The Odyssey features his usual combination of grandiosity and superficiality. The film's vision is too confused, its characters too underdeveloped, to deliver what it half promises in terms of big ideas, although it is very good at conveying big bangs and big giants, her scathing review reads. She added, Nolan's Odyssey lacks many of the elements that make the poem great. It has nothing convincing to say about time, memory, history, war, or about the relationship between one warrior's glorious return and the lives of his family, adversaries, comrades, friends, and neighbors. It lacks psychological, emotional, political, and ethical depth. Its narrative structure is gimmicky. None of the characters has convincing motivation for their actions or words. There are no sex scenes, and all the food looks horrible. She concluded of Nolan's film, I would be ashamed to have written any part of this script. Nolan became the first director to use the highest resolution 70 IMAX film with a specially designed camera to shoot the whole of his epic movie about ancient Greek hero Odysseus. With the high demand for the best possible viewing experience, it's meant moviegoers have been struggling to grab tickets. Only 41 cinemas in the world are able to project Nolan's special 70 movie, and the prices are of premium scale. Some IMAX theaters have been booked out weeks in advance, with extra shows even being put on at midnight. Fans have been complaining over the struggle to grab a ticket. Users wrote on X, "This isn't fair. Only a few people will get to experience Nolan's true vision. I think the obsession with IMAX is a hindrance. Multiple issues with focusing and some shots on the beach were way underexposed. Unpopular opinion maybe, but Nolan has to stop using IMAX and go back to regular cameras. It's just so irritating how every dialogue scene is shot with extreme close-ups of the actors' faces and way too much background blur. Nolan has faced criticism over the actors' accents and modern dialogue, Anne Hathaway and Tom Holland pictured. Nolan has faced criticism over the actors' accents and modern dialogue. The choice has sparked widespread online debate on social media, which Nolan was already prepared for. Speaking to the Los Angeles Times ahead of the movie's release, Nolan said he wanted to prioritize language that has emotional, not intellectual meaning to people. "I was maybe being naive, it might bite me on the ass, but I wanted an earthy narrative. To me, it was a no-brainer," Nolan said of his decision. Elon Musk, the owner of X, was among the public figures to express his opposition to Lupita Nyong'o, pictured being cast as Helen of Troy in the film. Elon Musk, the owner of X, was among the public figures to express his opposition to Lupita Nyong'o, 43, being cast as Helen of Troy in the film. Helen is the ravishing daughter of Zeus whose face launched 1,000 ships, in that her seduction by Troy's Prince Paris resulted in the Trojan War. Lupita, who won an Oscar for the 2013 historical drama 12 Years a Slave, also features in the film as Helen's sister Clytemnestra. Her hiring provoked a fierce response on X, including from conservative pundit Matt Walsh, who fumed that nobody on the planet regards Lupita as the world's greatest beauty, but that Nolan knows that he would be called racist if he gave the most beautiful woman role to a white woman. Elon responded to Matt by writing, "True," eliciting pushback by outspoken liberals like Alec Baldwin and Jimmy Kimmel. Speaking to Elle, Lupita refused to be drawn into the backlash narrative, stating, "I'm very supportive of Chris's intention with it and with the version of this story that he is telling. Our cast is representative of the world." She added, "I'm not spending my time thinking of a defense. The criticism will exist whether I engage with it or not." Nolan addressed the casting controversy in a Time interview by drawing a parallel to his approach on his film Interstellar. "For Interstellar, you're looking at, what is the best speculation of the future? When you're looking at the ancient past, it's actually the same thing," the filmmaker said. "What is the best speculation, and how can I use that to create a world?" He added that he expects some disagreement. "Hopefully they'll enjoy the film, even if they don't agree with everything," he pointed out. "We had a lot of scientists complain about Interstellar. But you just don't want people to think that you took it on frivolously." Nolan's adaptation has been accused of fueling brutal repression by filming in Morocco-occupied Western Sahara. The Odyssey was last memorably adapted for the silver screen by the Coen brothers in their 2000 satirical musical O Brother, Where Art Thou?, starring George Clooney. Yet it is Nolan's adaptation that has been accused of fueling brutal repression by filming in Morocco-occupied Western Sahara. Last year, the film was shot for 4 days near the city of Dakhla, part of a region that the United Nations has designated as a non-self-governing territory since 1963. Western Sahara, which has become a magnet for big-budget film sets, is not legally a part of Morocco. The US and UK are among Western governments to recently endorse the North African nation's claim over the land, as per Deadline. The Western Sahara International Film Festival, FI Sahara, allegedly called on Nolan at the time to halt shooting in the region. Dakhla is not just a beautiful location with cinematic sand dunes. Primarily, it is an occupied, militarized city whose indigenous Sahrawi population is subject to brutal repression by occupying Moroccan forces, the festival said. By filming part of the Odyssey in an occupied territory billed as a news black hole by Reporters Without Borders, Nolan and his team, perhaps unknowingly and unwillingly, are contributing to the repression of the Sahrawi people by Morocco. In a statement, FI Sahara continued, "We are sure that were they to understand the full implications of filming such a high-profile film in a territory whose indigenous peoples are unable to make their own films about their stories under occupation, Nolan and his team would be horrified." Morocco routinely touts Sahrawi cultural expressions as uniquely Moroccan. They created a film festival in Dakhla to counter ours and produce high-budget films that portray Western Sahara as part of Morocco. However, Sahrawis trying to make films about their lives are persecuted and must work clandestinely and at great risk to themselves and their families. The Daily Mail has contacted Universal for comment.